Okay, welcome everyone to the call. Um, I will continue to monitor the participant list, and anyone who joins in or trickles in after the fact, we will admit them. I want to thank Annika for being on the call today to act as our expert and be able to chat about the race and answer any questions that people may have. I'm going to have my eyes and ears open too because I have not raced this race. So it's going to be a learning experience for me. Right now, it's a fairly small group. So if anyone has questions, like I personally try to keep these fairly low key. Like, don't feel like you need to raise your hand. Like, you can unmute yourself or put a question in the chat and I'll monitor that there as well. But as I said, it's a pretty small group, so I'm not too concerned about people talking over one another.
Yeah.
All right, Annika, would you like to take it away? You can go in any direction you like.
I don't know. Well, I'd say too, we have one of our owners and she helps a lot. Christy Hayes is on, so she can help answer questions too. She's been with us. This race is kind of fun. It got started in a coffee shop with a group of local runners.
Wow.
We did not have a local marathon for a couple years, and we're like, can we make this happen? And just jump in. Um, what did we have? Like Christy, 6 months maybe planning the first year. I think our first meeting was the first of like November, I want to say November, December, and had it in April. So
Wow.
it was pretty quick. Obviously, it was not a Boston certified course at that time. And so that's continued to be our model, a race put on by runners for runners. And we have ultra runners, runners that have done 100. So everybody kind of just brings their knowledge and what they like about race and put it together for this event. And then I think another cool thing is what people really enjoy doing or they're good at. They kind of take ownership of that. Maybe they're, yeah, whatever they enjoy doing, they're planning or this particular thing. And so then they jump in and they're over that. So we are able to have expanded this race a lot in a couple years because we have so many people on board helping with it. So, and it is a Boston certified course. It's pretty flat, as I know you and I talked about. Early spring race. So we do get a lot of people that actually come down from Canada, more our side of us, and back east where it's kind of cold on there. And yeah, that's kind of the short story on how it got started. This is our fourth year. Yeah, fourth year of Run the River. So we have the marathon, half marathon, and then a 4-person relay, which was really fun. A lot of businesses, families do that. So that's for the full marathon there, and 5K. And then we have a kids marathon. We started that last year. So that's going to be on Friday of this year. And then we'll have the shakeout run. So the kids marathon, they run 25 miles on their own, run walk, and then 1.2 in the race to get their 26.2. Yeah. So a lot of different distances, depending on what you want to run on there. And we have to also offer an early start, which is quite a group of people and growing every year. It gives them one more hour to run it and finish. And just, especially somebody who maybe, wants to walk it and not quite be so pressured. They can do that on there.
A question I have, just because, I am not as familiar with your race, is there, if we talk about, morning of logistics, like when athletes should show up before their given start time, is there security lines? Are there things that they should know about to plan ahead for, to know, hey, I'm going to leave my hotel or my accommodations at this time in order to make it with plenty of time to the start line? Is there any considerations for that?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this year we got in our permitting actually more parking that's on the grass that's going to be closer to the start. So I know, so the race start and finish is in a really big park in Kennewick, Washington, which is Eastern Washington. And there's lots of parking lots there, but what we found was people were kind of having to park maybe on the other side of the park where like a playground or something to walk across. So they are going to be able to park on the grass pretty close, should be plenty. And like I said, there's tons of parking lots.
Mhm.
So we will have security roaming, but there's no lines. The locals can come on Thursday afternoon to our local running store, Runner's Soul in Kennewick, to pick up bibs. That will be 4 to 6:30 p.m. And then Friday, we have bib pickup again at the park. So that will kind of jumping back to race day logistics. They're going to have several opportunities to pick up bibs. So that will kind of decrease lines on race day morning. So race day morning, they can start at 6 a.m. Show up to the park, especially for those early start marathoners. They can show up at 6, get front row parking them, get their bib, do their warm up. And typically the lines have not been that of an issue. And also, if we have not sold out, which we're getting close, people can even sign up race day morning through Run Sign Up.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah.
And then another question I have, just because, I'm thinking about all the other different Zoom calls I've hosted for different, big races and major marathons. A lot of questions tend to be around like aid stations. What's on course? How often are aid stations? Can you speak to that a little bit?
Yeah. So we will have goo gels on there. They do start for the marathon at mile 6. And then aid stations are, Christy, you might have to jump in and help me, like every 2 to 3 miles.
They're about every 2 miles. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah. I just got the goo flavors in this week. So we got chocolate and raspberry lemonade and vanilla. And the new goo liquid energy is going to be out there on 1 or 2 stations too. So
cool.
Yeah, a couple different flavors. Yeah.
Yeah, the new flavors. Because I know we've done like the raspberry lemon before and the vanilla, which is a caffeinated one, right?
One of them is caffeinated. I think it's the chocolate.
Oh, the chocolate this year.
Maybe it's raspberry. I don't know. Don't quote me on that.
Yeah, and then Roctane. So every aid station will have the gels, Roctane, and water on there. We've done fruit snacks in the past, the last several, but they're not really a huge hit. So I'm not sure that we're actually doing them this year on there. Just if people want something more chewy. And then with the relay, we have 4 transition points. Well, actually 3 on the course. The 4th would be the finish. And so those can get pretty busy, but we have them at really good areas where there's a parking lot. So it's easy for if you're transitioning the relay to park there, but you're going to get a lot more support on there. So all of our aid stations are themed, which is really fun. Yeah. And then the people, so we have a variety of like nonprofits, families, some sports teams, just runners that are volunteering at these, and they all have different themes. They are very excited. I actually want to run the marathon because these themes, like somebody was just texting me through Instagram last night, and they're going to try to do a balloon arch and hang stuff.
Oh my gosh.
That's going to be really cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, as they're running along, there's a total of 12 stations for the marathon. And then the half is the out and back on. So they would get, I'm trying to think, 1, 2, 3, 5. I'm thinking, because there's one at the turnaround on there. So quite a few. I feel like that's quite a few stations.
And another question I had, again, just tends to pop up in other calls, so I'm just going to keep asking common questions that people may or may not have. Are there mile markers every mile? That is part 1 of my question. And are there different timing mats at various points throughout, say, like the marathon distance?
Yes. Yes. So mile markers every mile, and we have cones that are like labeled. So they say run the river. And different colors. So like the marathon is blue, the half marathon, I know one's pink, blue, pink, and I don't know. So you'll see them at every, and then there's also going to be marked on the course. So those are your mile marker cones. They're kind of like your caution cones, that size. Also marked in chalk and arrows in there. And then timing mats will be at the relay transition points on there. And so those vary in mileage from like 4.5, 6 on there. Yeah.
I don't have a question right now. Sorry, I had pre-prepared a couple, and now I don't know if anyone else on the call wants to ask another question before I scheme up another one in my head.
Does anybody else have questions? You can unmute your thing. So one thing I would say, this is with being an early spring weather, we've had amazing and gorgeous spring weather. It's usually a little chilly at the start. So I say bring a jacket. We have a drop bag placed that you can put it in. You'll probably want some sort of something while you check in, do a warm up on there. And we did get a little bit of rain last year, not a lot. So check the weather on that. We've had sunshine, a little bit of rain. So especially if you're flying in from other areas, just really stock that weather. And I would say bring different clothes options. It's actually been a little bit warmer than normally. So sometimes we've had, mornings where it's been pretty chilly and people want to start out in a jacket and leggings, and then you can always shed it. So this year, we'll see. It's looking pretty good. Probably be a little bit warmer than what we've had on there. But I think that's kind of the biggest thing that maybe catches people. And then you are pretty exposed to it, being that it's a path along the river. So hat's good idea. Sunscreen's good idea. If that sun's going to be out, that you think about that. There's sections that do, because you're going through a lot of parks that are shaded, but then the majority not. And it can get a little windy. We haven't had a huge problem with that, but we're Tri-Cities, and the wind sometimes just likes to pick up, take off.
Yeah. Be prepared for anything, right? You don't get to choose your race day conditions.
No. So hopefully you've planned and done some runs through those. So then I think it just comes down to like, okay, what do we wear? Like, what does the weather look like at that?
Another question that we sometimes get on calls is like, what does crowd support look like? For this race in particular, are there louder sections? Are there quieter sections? What can participants expect, I guess?
Yeah. So this course is really easy, accessible, because like I mentioned before, you're going to be going through a lot of parks. So we had really cool maps done this year. We were working to get that on the website. I don't know if we have, but we'll be passing them out at packet pickup, and you can see all of the different parks along the way. So that's easy. If you have family that's flying with you, they can just kind of hop along the river and get at a park, and there's easily walk down. Transition points, another really good place. There is going to be times where it will be quiet. And it's still, for the marathoners relay, several hundred people, still a smaller race. So there'll be stretches where, you might have a couple miles, and then you're going to hit like a big relay transition point, and you might have 50 people there on that. And we have cowbells that we've given out to aid station people. So hopefully, you hear those along the way. That encourages you. So yeah, if you have people coming with you, they can just kind of hop along the whole course. It's really easy. You're not remote at all. But there is a couple sections that I'm thinking along the river that would be a little bit more quiet and peaceful there if you're looking for that, but definitely not more than 2 miles, 1.5 miles, 2 miles. And then of course the aid stations, go through there. Yeah. Anyways, Christy, do you have anything you can think of on that?
Yeah, I know, like you said it well, Annika, because the course is along the river, you're going to have areas where people can get to you easily, and you're going to see some folks, and then you're just going to have some quiet, peaceful miles. There's one section closer to the highway that can get slightly noisy, but it's it's not too bad. So I think it's a
And
great route.
that section is pretty short.
Yeah, and it's earlier on in the marathon too. So
Yeah, so the traffic is not that bad at that time on a Saturday
right,
morning. Mhm.
right.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
yeah, and you do have 2 bridges that you're gonna go over. One's we call it our concrete bridge, and so you have, like, kind of concrete barriers there. The river's on one side. The other one, the Blue Bridge, is what would you
Well,
just
you go under this year. You go under the Blue Bridge,
cable bridge,
the Cable Bridge. Yeah,
yeah, yeah, you
yeah.
go under. So those are kind
Um,
of
the Cable Bridge, I think, is really cool to cross.
yeah,
I think
it is,
that's a
and now you have a walking path
yeah
on there.
on the
Um,
bridge.
and we do put signs out, and obviously the cities are well aware, they go out, but these paths are open to the public too. So, and
Yeah.
we have bike leads. So that is one thing to keep in mind, that there might be sections where you have people on bikes or you have little children out there or something. Um, and yeah, feel free to yell at them, runner coming through.
Yeah.
The lead
On your left.
bikers will be doing that. As well, but I think that's kind of good to know that it's not a closed course.
Right.
Totally.
And then what does the finish line look like? What can people expect after they cross the finish line?
Yeah. I think that's my favorite part. Christy's got a lot of planning on this. So we have a that it was really cool. Like, that's a great place for people to come line up along there. We have live bands, 2 for sure, if not 3, that will be staggered. So you're gonna have live band. When you finish, we'll have your Mylar blanket, your water bottles, your medal. Marathons get a surprise gift this year when they finish. And then our 5K runners will have a kind of like a snack grab and go section that they can grab. And so our half and full, we will be cooking up hot cheese and chicken quesadillas. Chrissy's in charge of that. They are
Mine.
phenomenal.
That sounds
And the best, we have a local sandwich shop bakery that makes brownies for us. And I have heard people come back to the marathon just for these brownies.
They I have tasted them. They're pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
that is so much better than a banana at the finish line.
That's why I'm doing it, just for the brownies.
Yeah. Yes. See, I've been told by a number of people. So you get a full meal there, and then you get a free recovery zone. So we have a physical therapist that has a place where you can stretch and foam roll. We have massage students. You can get a massage. We have another kind of rehab place that's going to bring their compression boots. We also have a chiropractic clinic that will be joining us there. So kind of have your whole recovery zone totally free that you can do. And then we have quite a few different vendors. At this point, I am not the one that's lining up all those, but Christy, maybe you can say we have like 10 to 15 different types of vendors that will.
Yeah, it's going to be really cool this year. We have several shoe companies bringing demo shoes. So, if you still have a little energy, you can check out some really cool shoes from On. On Shoes is going to be there. Brooks, Diodora. That's a newer brand that maybe some runners haven't tried their shoes on. So you can, talk to Tommy and try on new Diodora shoes. Asics, Topo. I mean, really, for a small race, this is a great opportunity to talk shop with some really excellent
And there's
shoes. And they all have prizes. So you want to go to them and I'm not exactly sure how it's working because Runner Soul is kind of taking this, but they have some bib numbers that'll be predetermined, and you'll see if you won a lucky prize. And then I've heard there's some golden tickets for a pretty good discount on each brand. Has a few golden tickets to win for a shoe, and Runner Soul will be there with some shoes that you can buy. So if you liked that new hyper cloud monster from On, you have a chance to go buy it right then.
Really cool. I love that. Yeah. And Runner
Yeah.
Soul is our presenting sponsor. That's our local running shoe company. So they do a lot of work in putting this on. And we have a couple other sponsors that will be out too. And there's it's shaded. There's a lot of picnic tables, so you can get your food and sit and recover and walk around, enjoy the band. So it's a really big festival. And I think that's where all of us have really tried to put quite a bit in there. Oh, and we have a coffee truck coming this year that is serving free coffee, hot coffee and iced coffee. They're called the Aid Station Van. Like how cool is that?
It sounds like a great finish line, like finished line lineup.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun.
So now you need to come out next year.
I know. I need to hop on a plane.
Fly to the other side.
I'm like 2 hours due north of like Syracuse, New York. So I'm just like straight up I-81, basically.
Okay. Yeah, that would be a long travel. You're not like all the Canadians that can just hop down.
Yeah, no, it would be a flight for sure. I've done the drive from where I live to Flagstaff, Arizona, and it was like 3,400 kilometers, whatever that is in miles. It's not good. So,
no.
It's a waste.
Yeah. Is there anything we haven't touched upon that we want to make sure we include on the call about any race logistics, course info?
I have a question. Are we gonna have to be dodging traffic in the park? Are we gonna be on the road, or is it gonna be more on the paths?
So that's a great question. So we have permission this year that there will be roads shut down. And then there was a dark park that was put in there, so that kind of changed the route a little bit. So, and we also have local law enforcement that are helping quite a bit, that whole section, all of the Kennewick side there. So that should really help this year as far as that.
And can we run primarily on the road versus going down on the paths?
Are you talking about like the Paul Parish Road?
Yes.
So there's that short section that you will be on the road there. Yep. And that's where it will be closed off. And then when you get back on the path where there's actually the bike path back lane there, you'll get back on that. So
the
section of road that you will be on will be coned off and closed going out. Yep. Great question. On there. Yeah, we covered aid station, finish line, pickup,
markers.
Yeah. And bib pickup on Friday will be down at the race start and finish, where we will also be doing the shakeout run on Friday, and we'll be having pizza afterwards there. So if you want to come early and cheer on the little kiddos, they start at 5, and then shakeout runs at 6, and pizza will be after that. So that's actually a great opportunity for you to come down and kind of just park and preview the area and see, like where we have it on parking, how you get there, where the setup is, because it's all going to be the same on that. Anything else, Christy, you can think of?
I was trying to think what else is there.
We're gonna get off and then something's gonna come to our mind.
I know.
It's always the way it works, right?
Yeah. But if anybody thinks of anything, I know we're going to put this up online, feel free to send a message through the Facebook or Instagram or email. We have a wonderful social media manager, Christy, and
yep. All your emails come to me, so I will answer them. We got some fun stuff planned. We have a little sign making area, so if you're bringing any supporters, they can make you a sign. We have face glitter that you can put on. Somebody just contacted us about a fundraiser where they're going to do hair braids, trying to get money for their autism group. So if you want your hair done race morning in a fun, crazy way, she's willing to help you there. So I don't know, just some little things that'll make it really something different, I think.
So we just have a question from Kate in the chat. She said, are there any areas, for those of us out of town to be aware of that people may go off course?
Yes. Hold on, I have a little attendant in my room. Christy, I'm going to let you answer that just for a second.
Any areas that you could go off course? I can't think of any. Again, the path is, you're going to be on a little bit of bike path at the beginning, on the road, but then you kind of get on the pedestrian path, and then you stay on that pedestrian path for 20 miles. And the team that marks the course, they do a really good job. So there's going to be chalk on every turn. There's going to be signs with cones for every turn. But when you consider the course as a whole, you're running down one side of the river. You're kind of crossing over that bridge, like Annika said, the concrete bridge. You're getting on the path into Richland, which is really pretty. And then you're on the Pasco side of the river. So it's a pretty easy course. Not a lot of turns to get off track compared to some of the other ones that I've run.
Right. Because you're not, what's really cool about this race is you're not dodging, you're not turning on a lot of busy roads. Like, we're very fortunate to be able to do this on a bike path that's safer. So the only thing that I can think of, Kate, and is around the bridges. So my mom is here and my husband, but the 3-year-old still escaped back to the room. Okay. So the bridges, you will, turn off the path and get up and go on the bridges. Those are going to be marked and chalked. You're going to have cones. We have a lot of course marshals that will be out there too, as well. So, and then we're going to be passing out really cool maps this year that will, if you study those, that will help you a lot on there. And the one other thing that I was thinking about, we have a lighthouse on a little island. And so you're going to turn, you will make a hard, as you're coming in, a hard right, and you do a quick out and back. There's an aid station there, and you'll get to see the island and the lighthouse and get your aid station. Then you're going to come back and hit that path again. So that would be one area. Again, we're going to have local law enforcement, our Explorer program that will be there helping on that particular one.
Great question.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah, and I'd say, just to reiterate what you mentioned a moment ago there, Annika, it's like, if people do think of questions after the fact, after we wrap this up, we hit end, in the days and weeks leading up to the race, reach out to their team if you have any other specific questions. I'm sure they'll do a great job at getting back to you. So I know I have been there many times where I don't always think of all the questions I want to ask in the moment. So definitely don't hesitate to reach out to Annika and Christy there if you have follow-up questions after this call.
Yeah. Thank you for meeting with us a little bit later.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I'm glad we could do this, and I appreciate both of yours flexibility and replanning a different day and time after our technical hiccup the other day. But I wish you guys the best of luck in the last phase of this planning. Anyone who is racing, I wish you all a great taper, good legs, and yeah, it's always a celebration in and of itself to make it to a start line of a marathon happy and healthy. So,
yes. It's not the test. I always like to tell people this is not test day, it's celebration day, right? You've done all your training, you've taken all your tests, and today you get to celebrate. So that would be my word of encouragement when you're out there running. Celebrate that you have a strong body. You've been able to train for however many weeks, traveled a long ways, and be proud of you get to run a marathon, half marathon, 5K.
Yep.
On there. Yeah.
Okay. Well, thank you all so much for joining. As soon as I have the recording link there, Annika, I will send it to you over email, or Matt will figure that out and we'll get it in your hands so that you can share it broadly with any of your connections as well.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good evening.
Yeah, you
Bye.
too.
Thank you. Bye.